Today on Sports Central, we're beginning every college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up in the Big Ten in Week 15. This one's going to be between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Purdue Boilermakers, two teams of which that are in very different situations right now. For Indiana on one side, they got a New Year's Six bowl game that is still on the line for them. They've gotten two good wins in a row, and Indiana is back on the rise after their loss to Ohio State a few weeks back. Meanwhile, for Purdue, they're 2-4 and they're on a 4-game losing streak after starting 2-0. So they're trying to flip the script there, and believe it or not, Purdue is still capable of making it to a bowl game. They just got to win their next couple of games, which this certainly will not be an easy game to win for Purdue. We're going to be going over a full game preview and prediction on this one here today, starting out with your team trends. Purdue lost to Nebraska last week, 27-37 in a pretty terrible game. I mean, it looked like it was possibly going to get out of hand there for a little while, but Purdue hung on and they still kept it a 10-point loss. But still, it's just been a really bad stretch for Purdue over the last few weeks. I mean, they lost to Nebraska last week, lost to Rutgers the week before, lost to Minnesota, lost to Northwestern. So it's just been a 4-game skid for Purdue recently, and this is certainly a game that's going to be very crucial for their program moving forward. For Indiana, they beat Wisconsin 14-6. Very impressive win out of the Hoosiers there. I mean, Wisconsin being a team that's usually pretty good on offense, they have not been good on offense recently, and Indiana, definitely took advantage of that. They got a win there 14-6, only allowing 6 points to a pretty talented Wisconsin offense, so that was pretty impressive out of Indiana there. Winning streaks for both these teams. Purdue is 2-4 with a 4-game losing streak. Then Indiana is the 12th ranked team in the nation according to the AP poll with a 6-1 record and a 2-game winning streak. So Indiana I definitely consider to be a top 10 team in the nation right now. I mean, they kept it close with Ohio State. They've been playing very well otherwise. And even though Indiana does not have Michael Penix anymore as their quarterback for the rest of the season, this team is still playing extremely well considering that. They showed that last week against Wisconsin. Like, this team is definitely for real. This game is going to be on Saturday, December 12th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern in Bloomington. So the Hoosiers will be the home team here. Spread currently says Indiana by 9.5. ESPN FPI is going with Indiana 84%. Vegas prediction also going with Indiana here 37-26. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. Purdue's got 27 points per game, 29 points allowed per game. They got 309 pass yards a game. This is a very heavy passing team this season, as well as 81 rushing yards per game. And then for Indiana, they got 30 points per game, 19 points allowed. They got 258 pass yards a game, 100 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 226 passing and then 135 rushing. So really, on both sides here, Purdue, they're pretty good in the passing game, obviously with 300 points or 300 yards per game on the offensive side. And it looks like Jack Plummer is going to be their quarterback for the rest of the season, as Aiden O'Connell has not been playing as well, and he's also injured, so he's not going to be in for the rest of the season. But Jack Plummer is a pretty good quarterback too. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely a talented player to watch out for, and he's put up almost 1,000 yards with 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the season. So really, he's had some pretty good stats this season so far. As for Indiana on their side, they got 258 pass yards a game, 100 rush yards per game, and I think Stevie Scott's definitely going to get a lot of action in this game, considering the passing game is going to be a little bit weighed down, considering they've got a new quarterback under center. But for yards allowed, they got 226 passing and 135 rushing. So really, both defenses are halfway decent in this game. It's just a matter of which offense can be better. Some key points for this one: Indiana is definitely having as good of a season as they've ever had. Indiana is definitely a team that's on fire right now. They're 6-1 and they've been playing very well all season. And honestly, this is something that definitely caught me off guard. Like, I thought Indiana would definitely be a bowl team, possibly in a normal season they'd get up to 9 wins. But Indiana, if this was a normal season, Indiana would possibly be a 10-win team this season, maybe even 11. Indiana is playing extremely well this year. And really, for them to keep it close to Ohio State within a touchdown game, and for them to be able to be blowing out opponents and keeping it close with high-caliber teams, like, this team is playing very, very well this season, and let alone beating high-caliber teams. Like, Wisconsin's a good team, and for Indiana to only allow 6 points to them is very, very impressive. So Indiana's been playing very well all season, and that's something that Purdue's got to watch out for. But meanwhile, for Purdue, they're on a 4-game skid right now, so they're definitely in a weird situation in comparison to Indiana right now. They're definitely not in a good situation, considering, once again, they've lost 4 pretty terrible games in a row. But how each team would win here, I think for Indiana, if they can just start out fast and make sure that Purdue does not sneak up on them, like, Indiana's definitely going to get the win here. Like, this team just needs momentum at the start, especially with having a different quarterback under center. You got to have a lot of energy at the start. You got to get up a couple of touchdowns and make sure that Purdue does not come back from there. Meanwhile, for Purdue, you got to do the opposite. You got to keep it close against Indiana and possibly pull it out at the end, because quite frankly, I don't see Purdue blowing out Indiana here. So you got to make sure that you at least keep it within a score game for the majority of the game and make sure that you can get the win in the end. But I think both teams here are definitely capable of getting a win here, especially Indiana, who's 6-1 right now, and definitely looking like a top team in the Big Ten. But in the end, I'm going with the Hoosiers here. I just think Indiana is all around the better team. I'm much more confident in this team than I am with Purdue right now. I mean, Purdue did not look very good last week against Nebraska, and they've had a lot of problems within their team. So I'm going to go with Indiana here. Final score is going to be 34-17. So we're going to see Indiana double up on Purdue. And then your halftime score is going to be 17-7. So we're going to see Indiana lead for the majority of this one. I think Purdue's going to kind of stay in the background here, but they're not going to be able to get the win in the end. But once again, final score 34-17. Probably is going to be 80% towards Indiana, so I am pretty confident on the Hoosier side that they will get the win. But let me know your thoughts and comments below. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down in the comments. I'd appreciate you guys all showing some support on this video as well if you enjoyed it, as it really helps out the channel, and I'd really appreciate that. But once again, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll catch you on the next one.